Hey, hey, my beautiful creatives. Welcome in another episode of Naked Truth about business and branding. Today, I am so honored and excited to host this amazing woman, mother of three. Yes, you lead me by one here.
Yeah.
Successful and fearless womanpreneur, awesome coach, ambassador of Mindvalley.
Mhm.
I would like to hear about this a little bit more after. Public speaker, and you're becoming a writer, or you already are a writer. You're gonna publish your first book, 3rd of December. Is
Yes.
it so?
hmm
Oh, great. And we're gonna talk about this. And the one and the only Dijana Llugolli. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I just want to say that I'm so honored and grateful to have you. It's been a journey. We have been together for 3 years probably now. When I did my podcast back 2 years ago when I started, and you were one of the first guests on my podcast. And I think that we are always in this loop where we haven't lost the connection. And I just want to say that I appreciate you so much for being always in my corner. And you're one of the people that always, come back. And, I love to check your page and what is happening, what magic you're creating. So I just want to honor that space because we met online. We still haven't met in person, though you are from my home country, Slovenia, and you're probably one of the people that I want to meet when I go back home. I want to meet the first, like, no, I'm not bullshitting. We talked about let's just meet when I'm in Slovenia. So you're one of the people that I really want to meet in person. And thank you for being in my corner for for a few years now. So yeah, it's an honor to be here.
Yes, and it's a pleasure for me too. So thank you very much. Um, and definitely we will meet. So Diana is from our home country, Slovenia, but we're gonna talk today in English because of Diana is mostly is global. So we want to reach everyone who wants to hear your story and go really deep in this naked truth of what you were and who you are now. So Diana, I know this is not your first business. You had before this another one or even more. Yes,
Couple of them, yeah.
couple of them. So what is different about this one? Why this the one that stays and goes on?
Yeah, cool. That's a good question. So I've been a coach, or for or have had my coaching business, online coaching business, for 3 years now. Before that, I was a network marketer, and before that, I had well, we started here a restaurant with crepes. And before that, in Slovenia, I had my own fashion stores. So basically, these are different industries that I was in. So it was physical products, and then the restaurant with this food industry, and also different network marketing. I can say that this was already leading to a coaching, because when you're a team leader of a network marketing company, you already have these skills. And leadership was always something that kind of drive. That's like a silver lining throughout all my businesses. Leadership is something that I studied, especially authentic leadership. My master's degree was based on that. And it's always something that I try to incorporate in all businesses. So that's same. It's like leading with authenticity, leading what you also is the primary focus of this show and these talks, like being naked and being raw, being honest, being transparent. That was always something that my brand or I try to portray in all of my businesses. What is different now? I think that we are, regardless of 2020 that is hitting us hard with challenges, I think that there are so many opportunities to be seen. to be heard, to be, you know, to share your message and your truth, your voice, especially now when women entrepreneurship is arising. Like, we women are stepping out, and I'm so proud of, you know, you all women entrepreneurs crushing it out there, whether that's locally or globally. Like, kudos to you guys, because I know how hard it was for me, because I was a child in Slovenia. I was also, I was born to immigrant parents who migrated from Bosnia, and it was hard. My childhood wasn't like, you know, nice. I was bullied, and you know how it is. So for me, being a woman who is sharing her message and, you know, just sharing her voice was a decision that I made within my coaching business now. And I said, I will never apologize for the truth that I'm holding, because that's what I need to just get out there. Because there will always be a listener, there will always be someone who will resonate with that truth. My whole life, I was a people pleaser. You know, I always obey my parents. I always needed to be perfect kid, perfect student, perfect employee, to being, you know, just perfect like citizen. Screw that, you know. Screw the perfectionist, screw with people pleaser, do what your heart tells you. And I think that why I feel that this is the right way, maybe this will change in 2-3 years. Maybe I will take another path. Business model will change, no doubt. But why I feel that I live in my truth right now, and this can change probably, but this is where I feel good right now. This is what fulfills me. This is where, you know, I wake up with so much joy and I say, who do I need to be today to empower someone, to inspire someone, to motivate someone, to, you know, to just say it is okay. You're going to make it through. So I think that I am on the right path. I feel like that. It's not something that I need someone to acknowledge me. You're on the right path. I feel it in my heart.
Amazing. Thank you for that. You already said so many great things that I don't know where to begin. So maybe, do you remember when you started this business? What was your vision and what were your goals back then? And what has changed through time?
That's a great question. So when I started my brand is Fearless and Successful. And as I mentioned, I was always in the shadow. When I was a kid, so I'm going to take you back so you understand the concept, why I'm so passionate about living in your truth and sharing your voice and message. As a kid, my parents talked Bosnian at home. And I was raised in Slovene school, and, you know, education there was, you know, you need to speak that language. Though I was born there, my language was not perfect. And my teacher, Slovene teacher, would always say to me, you can't speak. And that led me to, you can't speak. As a kid, I believed that my word doesn't matter. I can't speak, right? And then my parents would always, I was like, you know, I was this kid who always need to say something. And my parents would say, you know, because we are immigrants, don't stand out. Don't speak, you know, just shut up, you know, you don't have a voice. And I grew up, and I'm not judging anyone. I'm just saying how I came into this acknowledgement that I do have a voice. I was there where no one heard me except for my Barbie dolls, where I put them in front of my, you know, on my bed, and I would speak to them, empower them. That was always something that was in me. I want to share my message, but so many people told me I can't speak. I don't have a right to say the truth. So when I started my coaching business, I felt that fear of being heard, fear of being judged, fear of being seen was a huge. And what I said, you know, I'm going to empower those who feel that they are judged online. They are judged even offline. they are afraid to speak. They are afraid to be seen. So it became a movement, and I said, I'm going to be fearless in portraying that. I'm going to walk the talk. So I started with just showing up and doing live on the Facebook and just sharing. And when I look back then, like, oh my goodness, you were so funny and goofy. What changed was like, my vision was to show up, to be fearless, and to present myself as someone who does the things in spite of the fear. I feel the fear. I still feel it. I'm not like, you don't feel anything. I do, but I acknowledge it. Most of the times it's just acknowledgement and saying, what's the worst thing that can happen if I do a certain thing? And then I say, thank you, goodbye. And that became like a movement for me. How do I actually, when someone feels scared, how do I empower them and inspire them to move forward? So that was the vision from the beginning, to just, to be fearless, to just talk and to share. Vision now is greater than it was before. Of course, our vision expands, and you know that you can manifest only to the extent of your vision. You can manifest something that is greater than your vision, right? So I try to push that vision. I try to think like Disney or Apple, 20, 30, 50 years. I'm trying to see what can we do today that's going to benefit our kids. We are both moms, we know that, and we take pride on that we can be in such a great space to teach and educate our kids about the mindset and about everything that is happening. We have open conversation, open dialogues about, everything that concerns, even now when we are most pivotal times in our life, where not just pandemic, but also US election, Black Lives Matter, and all this stuff are happening. I talk with my kids about these stuff. So it's more about, just and acknowledging everyone who has a fear and who has different perspectives. It's not my truth. It's not your truth that it's the right truth. It's your truth, and that truth matters. There is no right or wrong truth. There is your truth. And I think that the vision here is to, how can I always be that person who will share my truth, but also take in consideration everyone else's truth.
Oh my God, I have goosebumps almost all the time you talk, because it's so powerful and so meaningful. And I just realized how lucky I was as a child, because we have quite familiar story. My father was also immigrant from Bosnia, but I just realized maybe the main difference was that we talked Slovenian at home always. He also talks very good Slovenian, and I didn't have a problem because of this in my school, and I wasn't bullied, but I probably would be, because I remember one time that my younger sister, wrote something like, I don't know, one word, kind of funny, and in the same instant, her Slovenian teacher write underneath of it, please write in Slovenian, not in Croatian. And that was an amazing stress for her, because really she really didn't even know how to speak Croatian or Bosnian, because we always talked Slovenian at home. So wow, thank you for that, and it's really touched me, and I see how blessed I was, because I didn't go through that story that you had to go. And Dijana, you were said all the time that you don't know to speak. How many languages do you speak now?
Right? here comes the awareness part. And then I'm so grateful that you asked that, and you remember that. And this is kind of how we choose to flip the coin. So there was a continuous story that was said to me, you can't speak Slovene. And then when I was in gymnasium, there was a German teacher who told me, you can't speak German. And that story continued. And then I was at university, or I started to work at university in HR, and I started to deal with visiting professors, and I was taking care of their permit. So I needed to speak English. And that was the first time that I actually crushed that fear of I can't speak a certain language. That was the first time that I actually said, these are professors from Scotland, Ireland. They speak perfect English, which is, with the accent. But there I was, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna test myself, and I'm gonna show myself that I can actually speak a foreign language. And that was the first time that I actually, went deep into English and exploring my potential of learning a language. And funny enough, the story continued when I moved to Sweden 7 years ago, when I was searching for a job, and I sent 2,800 applications. Yeah, I'm rebellious. And there was the answer: you don't speak Swedish. Therefore, you are not qualified to search that job. The same thing. And then I won't go deep into the story of how I actually, because I didn't know the language. 1 year I spent cleaning shitty toilets. I'm not gonna go there, but that was essentially where the book is born. I went from, the book is called The Tricolor Butterfly, where this cocoon woke up from the dark place. And when I quit that job, funny enough, I got a position to be a language teacher, which is really awesome. Which is like, the whole, this was where I saw that nothing that I was told in my early childhood, nothing is true. Because there I was all my life, they were saying to me that you can't a certain language. And there I was given an opportunity. I was actually called from the director of that, the language center. And they said, you know what, we think that because you learned this, I had a diploma, I needed to do a Swedish diploma. And my kids are multilingual. We speak 4 languages in our house. So she was so impressed, and she said, we need someone who has this at home, who practices. We don't necessarily need someone who has a qualification or a degree in, pedagogic, but more of someone who practices that at home. And I was so excited. And I said, this is where I walk the talk. This is not something that I need to learn. This is something that we already experience at home. This is something that we always embrace. Language learning in our house is so welcome. If my girl wants to, my husband is Albanian, and my girl wants to speak Albanian, they have that. If they want to speak Bosnian, they have that. If they want to speak Slovene, they have that. And we always encourage them to do that. So funny enough, then when I became a language teacher, all this, you know what? I can do this. They told me I can't, but I proved them wrong. So yeah, now today I speak 7 languages, or I understand them. So I would say that this is one of my strengths. And when people say, wow, you speak 7 languages, I turn my weakness and I actually turn my weakness into my strength.
Wow. Such an inspiring story. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, amazing. So your book is coming out. You already said the title. Would you like to share a little bit more?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So the book is memoir. It's not your typical business guide, which you would expect from a business coach. It's not even a marketing tool. My book comes from my own healing process. I want to take a step back where I, as a business owner, I am very left brainer, and Sarah knows me. I am very like, I was until this point, until 2020, when I was so guided by intuition, and I said, I declared. So when I started, the word was fierce. 3 years ago, the word was fierce. Last year, 2019, the word was change. I needed to change some patterns because I was so hurt. And then 2020, I said, you know what? The word will be intuition. And I'm going to work more with my feminine, more trusting my gut, and more like exploring inward. And what I realized that book came as a process of knowing myself. It wasn't something that I always had. You know, we all have this goal. I'm going to be a writer or an author, a published author. We all have a book in ourselves. That is a fact. And I always had on my vision board a book, but I never really put my intention in it because it was not a priority. It wasn't a focus. But then in March, actually, and this was before COVID, I went through a challenge with my husband, and it was like, do we divorce? Do we not? It was like a heartbreaking, and it was so much who I am, who I want to be, what is actually my purpose, where do I stand in this, where am I? Like, I'm this tiny micro human being in this whole big puzzle. What do I do now? What is my next step? And there I actually came across to a book coach. And you know, when you feel, wow, it's just like that nudge in your stomach, you feel it. That's the next best step. And when I started to work with her, that was like a no-brainer. I need that. She came like, as a sign. I was so open to receive that sign. And she came and I said, Karen, I don't know. My English is not perfect. Let's just not fool ourselves. I am not a writer. Obviously, I don't like to write. I do my journals through my voice memo. So I said, you know what, Karen, I don't know if this is even something that I can do it. But she said, you know what, the only thing is that you feel that is the right next step. So my book was not even written. My book was voice typed. So mind you, I'm still not a writer. I'm a speaker. I love to speak. I love to, share my energy through my voice. It's not something that I'm not a good writer. Luckily, we have like editors and proofreaders and all this good stuff. And that book was actually a gift to myself. When she started, this will be a good marketing tool. Yes, we are marketers. We business owners, entrepreneurs, we always need to think about how we market and promote ourselves. Intention with this book was not to market myself. Intention with this book was to heal myself. So it was a lot of inner world, soul searching, a lot of discoveries. And I say to all my people, my friends, my students, write a book for yourself. That's not gonna only help you, but it's gonna affect everyone around you. Because knowing yourself is the best thing that you can do for yourself in this world. And through that soul searching, through that healing process, I knew that, I'm nervous. Sarah, I'm still nervous to this day. I'm just like, oh, this is 4 weeks away. Seriously, I'm going to be like, this is the most naked I can get. And I'm still like, I catch myself and I say, this doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is back to that knowing that I healed myself. And it's not just healing process. There was a moment, so this is the what I want to share with you guys. Don't speak or don't write your book through your wounds. Write it through your scars. It was a healing process, but it was also like, okay, so I healed that chapter. I'm ready to actually reflect through that chapter and find a positive lesson. So I closed that wound. It's still a scar. It's still like, you know, it's still, it's still, you know, it still hurt, not hurts, but you still feel it, but it's healed. So I can speak about that. And it's more about, you know, how I came here, how I had this all, you know, experiences. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I'm a cleaner. I'm an immigrant. I don't have a voice, you know, to this point where, you know what? I am free because I am me.
Oh, it's so important what you said right now. So write and talk about it and teach about it when it's healed, not when it's still open wound. And why? Can you explain this a little bit more, please?
Yes. So before I actually, one of the moments that actually inspired the beginning of introduction of this book was the moment when I was sitting. I came from my job, my cleaning job, and I was sitting. We had a dinner, and my she's 13 years old. She will be 13 on 3rd of December. That book is devoted to her. And we sat, and she said, you know, Mom, I have this Swedish lesson, and I don't know how to do this. And I look at her, and she had a paper for her school. It was it was like a home assignment, yes. And she said, yeah, can you help me with this? And I was sitting there. I was so freaking tired. It was a Wednesday, and I was sitting there, and I look at this assignment, and I said, Ella, I'm so tired. And she looks at me, and she says, so that means that you can't help me? And I say, I can't even go and shower and take a shower. So tired I am. How can you expect me to help you with Swedish lesson? I don't know freaking Swedish. And I took the dinner, I took the plate, and I went down and I went to sleep. When I woke up that morning, next morning, I had, you know what, when you wake up and you just hit that reality. Was I dreaming this? Has this really happened? What was that, you know? And I go back to a moment when I said to my parents, I'm gonna move to Sweden. I'm gonna leave my dream life. And I'm gonna move here to create a dream life for my daughters. And then I caught myself in a moment where when my daughter needed me the most, I was so tired. Was there anything that I can make, like change an instant and say, no, I'm not accepting this reality? Yes. I can say screw to that job that makes me tired and makes me like mentally drained. And that was like, you know, I was the only bread provider. My husband was on maternity leave with our second daughter, and we had big expenses. And he doesn't speak a language. I couldn't find a job. And I said, you know what? No, never, ever will my daughter experience that I say no to her, that I can't help her. Because this is what my father taught me. He was always there for me when I needed help with you know, with lessons, with home assignments. He was always there. And I felt, you know, I didn't fail as an entrepreneur or someone, you know, in a professional, but I actually failed as a parent. And that was sacred to me. And I said, no, I quit that job. And as I mentioned, in 14 days, I got a job as a teacher. So the lesson here was actually say no to things that don't make you happy. Shut that door because new door will open. Always be brave to close the door that don't gives you the light, that don't bring like joy and happiness to your life. And more of that like drain you on the energetic level. There is always another door that will open It's going to make you healthier, happier, and more fulfilled. Always just had the trust and have that, this was probably the most scared moment in my life when I said, I don't know what is on the other side, but I'm willing to take the risk because the risk is less risky than to jeopardize my own health, my own happiness with my family.
Oh, yes, I agree totally. You are kind of answering my next question all along, but even so, I would like to know, I know when we first met, you were this goal-driven hustler, like go, 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 action all the time. And it kind of, not it kind of, it really irritated me, like irritated the shit out of me because I was quite the opposite. I was like this intuitive, air flowy, magic doing witch. And I kind of had the feeling that I also irritated you just a little bit, like in that time. But this really inspired me to follow you even more, because I recognize through that I want part of this action and goal setting that I wasn't able to do back then. But then something changed. I also written you when I asked you to join me this last time that your energy changed. You became more soft, more fluent. You still your goals are still or even more um, achievable. You achieve them. But something changed in the process, and it's changed all, for me too. And you are responsible for that. So thank you very, very much. I'm much, much better goal setter than I was. And this is you're doing for the most of it. So what changed? What was this?
Yeah, great question. So I think that first time when I came across the word intuition, I have a book here, so I'm gonna grab the book so I can reference. The first time when I came to the word intuition, and this was by a male coach of mine, and I said, like, this is so pussy. What's that? Like, my dreamers and hustlers, we kick asses, we do things, we make shit happen. And this is what it is still in my core. But what changed was that I do things that primarily, they're not egocentric. They are not driven by my ego. They are not driven by what can I get out of this, but they are driven by my self-awareness and my awareness of, if I say yes to this, will this bring joy to me? And is there a consequence to this world? Will this benefit someone beyond just me? And not the person who is asking me to do something, but will this be like something that we can, like this conversation? One, I would never say yes to a conversation to you if we wouldn't like match energetically. If, and the second, do we have a capacity to share this message to at least one person, right? It's not just about you and me. Of course, that we made a connection, we made a click, we have a conversation, which is super awesome. It's about you and me, making this meaningful relationship. Super awesome. Will this relationship take to the next level and empower someone else to take action? Yes. If we have a yes, yes, then it's a yes, yes. But first it needs to come from my awareness. If I'm saying yes to something, because I was always like, and that's also awareness of yourself. Knowing yourself is the key. And I know that I have ADHD. I know why I operate like a hustler mode. And I know that that leaves me to a burnout quite quickly if I don't do it on a high energetical level. If something drains me, I just learn to say no, even if that will gain me a financial result. Because I choose my energy and my health beyond just the money. Because I feel so good. I feel so good. And that affects, you know, of course, money affects my family as well, but also me being in this energy and me being happy and healthy affects my family even more. They always say, you know, a healthy person has 1,000 wishes, unhealthy has only one. I don't want to be in that position where I will have one wish. And that doesn't come from, and one of my coaches or mentors, previous mentors, she always says like, you know, happy women make more money. And that's so true. You know, when you are happy, like when you're healthy, you attract abundance. Yeah. And what actually changed in my business to go with the flow from being, I always, I mentioned this in my book. I went from a high achiever, burnout high achiever, to a flow manifester. Mm-hmm. And in April, and you asked also, in April, I became an ambassador for an amazing program by Mindvalley. I was the Ever Coach ambassador, Ever Coach by Mindvalley before, but then I became for Mindvalley, and they were launching an incredible program for the first time, the Silva Ultra Mind program, which is actually Vision's method, how he manifested Mindvalley, and to just be accepted among 180 ambassadors was like me, like what? And that manifested, and it changed my life. It changed trajectory of my life, like literally. And then we went through, I'm totally promoting his book, The Buddha and the Badass. I was the badass. I always been a badass. But I missed this part. I missed this part. And once I connected Buddha and the badass, I'm unstoppable. You know, I have both, the art and the science. I have both. And I'm just going to read. The Buddha is the spiritual master and badass is the change maker. You have both inside you. Once awakened, they can transport the way you work, live, and build your empire. Oh. This book, this is like, you know, that we are both personal development junkies. We love this stuff. If there is a book that I can recommend, and there are a lot of books, but this one changed my life. How I can create a spiritual connection, not with a God. I recently also read Conversation with God by Neil Donald Walsh. Amazing compilation of, and it's not about religion. It's more about finding the answers within you, asking the right questions yourself. You will find all the answers that you need. And that's what I needed. That changed. I have everything here, right here.
Diana, we could talk for hours, but we kind of came to the end of the time that we had planned for this meeting. So I will probably, I will be really, really honored if we would do another conversation like this sometimes.
Part two.
Part two, because I have these answers. Questions that we didn't even came to, but you gave so much to us, to me, and to everyone who listened to this. And is there any last message or word you would like to share with us?
Yeah, good one. I would say that whatever you do as your next step, make sure that is your best next step. It's something that, you know, we live in a world where comparison and perfectionism and people pleasing is social improvement. When you know yourself and you know that you are doing your best, regardless of what the world says, you find the peace and joy. It doesn't need to be your mentor's next step, your parents' next step, your kids' next step. It needs to be your best step, only yours. And trust, when you trust the process that you have the answer and you are doing your best every single day, there is no greater feeling. So always trust that you are doing your best.
Wow, amazing. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And to our listeners, and we will share the links to your book. Can we already pre-order, or it's not ready yet?
It depends when this will go out, but yeah, we'll definitely share the link. It's not available for pre-order right now. It's going to be out there on 3rd of December. But yes, depending on when this show goes out, you will have, it will be my greatest honor to share. We're going to have a little promo when we are actually just launching. So yeah, I would love for you to, if anything what I said resonates with you, and if you would love a little peek into my life, my naked truth, yeah, I would be honored and grateful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you so much for taking the time. We definitely speak soon.